Avatar: The Last Airbender's recent spike in media output suggests that Viacom has seen its potential as a franchise. However, it may be more than that. What do you think of when you hear Marvel, the cinematic universe, or anything along those lines? Well, as creators ourselves and with our somewhat vast understanding of what goes on behind the scenes of content creation, we think of, well, not to sound like abhorrent, but money, views, and being viral, and things like that. Almost everybody in the world, and I mean everybody, knows the name Marvel. And we think it's safe to say that most media creators strive for their series or movies to grow the way that Marvel did. But what are the possibilities of that happening? For Avatar, those chances are looking pretty large, both fanbase-wise and in the way of how many series installments we could be getting from them, even potentially overlapping storylines from the same period but in different realities. You're watching Avatar Discussions, and today we're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender, and how we might be watching the next MCU-level story unfold. Nearly 2 decades after its original air date, Avatar: The Last Airbender, or ATLA to the fandom, has a reasonable amount of tie-in media. A sequel series, a much-reviled big-screen adaptation, and a saga of comic books and novels all serve to round out the franchise. However, Paramount and its parent company Viacom have recently ramped up production on the Bending saga. By the end of 2022, ATLA had an animated movie and a video game in production, a series in pre-production, and a newly released TTRPG that broke Kickstarter records, along with a cast that adores their roles. Nearly any store that sells media showcases ATLA products and licensing, and the original series' streaming location is a common web search. After decades of slowly building out the world of Avatar, Viacom is now fully embracing the characters and stories, and for good reason. Avatar: The Last Airbender and its associated media have the potential to become Viacom's own version of the MCU, in a time when an opportunity has opened up for the fan-favorite franchise. The Last Airbender began as a 3-book story of Aang and company, but it quickly became far more than that. With The Legend of Korra, the franchise showed it had staying power beyond the initial outing, as further proven by Avatar Legends and the Avatar novels. The other settings allow for just as much intrigue and exploration as the one first seen in ATLA. It is a big world with many stories, and having a large playbox for stories means it is unlikely that ATLA will begin to suffer from the same media woes as the stricter storylines of the MCU. Additionally, fans like to show that they align with groups within the media, as shown by everything from Twilight's Team Edward and Jacob to alignments to Hogwarts' house system in Harry Potter. Avatar similarly has these built in with the nations of the bending world. For example, to relate this back to the MCU, while firebending is a form of element bending rooted in life, many of the users fuel their firebending with rage and hatred for a less pure form of firebending. As Aldrich Killian and Surtur are both villains with less than moral motives, they seem well suited for watered-down firebending. Both Killian and Surtur have plenty of experience with fire. Surtur is a fire demon from Muspelheim, and he is essentially a giant walking flame. Killian's Extremis formula heats up the body when healing, and he can even breathe fire, much like Iroh, aka the Dragon of the West. The newest member of the Avengers is Shang-Chi, a talented martial artist who now holds the famous 10 rings. Shang-Chi travels to the enchanted kingdom of ATLA, where the inhabitants seem to possess mysterious abilities bestowed upon them by the Great Protector. This is quite similar to how the first people were permitted to use the huge lion turtles as bending abilities. Visually, the Great Protector's mystic skills resembled tactics used in Avatar: The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra's airbending battles. Shang-Chi would be a fantastic airbender because of his aptitude for martial arts and deep connection to nature. He might also look pretty nice with some arrow tattoos. One could argue that Tony Stark should be an energy bender due to his work with arc reactor technology, or even a firebender or metal bender because of his firepower and nanotech. However, Tony would make an excellent waterbender because of his ability to think quickly and adapt to new situations, always learning and adjusting with the ebbs and flows of life. He also has rather fluid movements, not only as Iron Man, but also when he's tinkering away in his lab. Additionally, his battle tactics are similar to waterbenders, often adjusting mid-fight to gain the upper hand, which is expertly showcased during Civil War. Rather than evading or forcing through Steve's punches or unloading all of his guns, Tony holds Steve off while Friday develops counterattack measures to turn the tides in Tony's favor. Hulk loves to smash, often altering the local landscape in the process, especially as he gets angrier. Hulk typically uses deliberate movements when fighting, which allows him to hit hard, but also leaves him vulnerable to attack from worthy opponents, such as Thor. He also faces threats head-on, like Surtur on Asgard, which is akin to the mentality of an earthbender. Considering Hulk's size and power, the massive boulders he could hurl at enemies could potentially have entire towns sitting on top of them. There is a Worldbreaker Hulk in the comics, so it only makes sense that his MCU counterpart would love to break the Earth apart as well. From the mechanics and tradition of the Fire Nation to the peace and piracy of the Water Tribe, there is a nation where any fan may feel they fit in best. And if not, well, that just makes them more like the Avatar. It's a licensing opportunity for Viacom, and a chance for fans to further continue the exodus from Harry Potter to a franchise that has told queer-friendly stories for a long time. The Last Airbender also has the ultimate benefit of being a Star Wars-like franchise. It feels like Marvel. Marvel is a coming-of-age tale with wild powers and a force that is part of the world that makes it so much more than the real one. ATLA does the same. It's a fleshed-out world with mythology, new and antiquated ideals, different cultures, and strange creatures. It feels very much like what Marvel originated as, and that feeling alone makes it ripe for a similar resonance. Now to look at the buildable capabilities of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Let's focus on Aang specifically. To make a reference point, look at Spider-Man or Doctor Strange. They have made several movies or series, comics or novels that expand on their storylines, and play out what would have or could have happened, and say things would have played out differently for those characters. There is a buildable opportunity like that for Avatar: The Last Airbender as well. Let's explore some of those storylines. One really popular one is about Aang himself. What would have happened had he had not run away? Would he have been able to stop the start of the war? Would he have been killed? Would he have been killed in the Avatar state? This is such an amazing plot to build onto, because there is so much speculation amongst the fandom that they would be all drawn in so quickly to finally figure out the answers we've had for so long. Another avenue they could explore would be if Aang had been sent to the other temple like they had planned for him. How would that have played out? Would they have known how to protect him the way Gyatso did? And what would have happened had he had been there during the attack and the genocide? Would he have mastered the elements the way he needed to? Or what if Aang had run away and not frozen himself? Had he lived his life out on the run? Would he have been caught? Would we get to see how he mastered the elements despite a war on the brink that all teetered on him? And whether or not he survived while being on the run? What if Aang had not escaped or gotten saved from Zhao when he was captured by the Yuyan archers? Would he have been killed? Tortured? How about given to the Fire Lord? Would he have entered the Avatar state and Thanos snapped Ozai out of existence? On the same topic of Zuko saving Aang, what if they had become friends when that happened? Would things have played out differently? There are so many different storylines that Avatar could play out in the series to expand their already built storyline. Also, just imagine a Spider-Man type crossover. I mean, 3 Avatar Aangs and several Ozais? Count us in. There is a lot more we could dive into, but for the sake of not making a video as long as the entire series put together, we're going to wrap it up here. Although Avatar: The Last Airbender isn't nearly the cash cow of the MCU, it certainly has the potential to be. Viacom has finally realized this, and appears to be fully embracing the franchise's potential. And now, it's only a matter of time before fans and Viacom alike see just how well Avatar: The Last Airbender holds up the franchise's weight. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, as always, stay flamin'!